So I saw a hawk fly out of a tree and start screeching, and now he's got a couple friends with him, and I don't know what they're doing. I've never really seen hawks behave like this. I think they're red tails. At first I thought it was Lord Birdswell, and he was going to come down and hang out with me on the post like last time, but I'm not going to explain that. Sounds kooky, but I make friends with wild animals sometimes. It's really interesting. I think they pick up my energy. I connect to nature. I connect to animals, and I think animals can pick up on that. A few months ago, I was sitting on the edge of the valley, just meditating and watching a flock of sheep like a shepherd. And a deer like walked up like 50 feet away from me, and it was a buck. And he just stopped. He just stared at me. And I don't think it was because I had magical powers there. I think he was just confused. He was trying to figure out what the heck is going on here, because, you know, you don't usually just see a person sitting in the grass just being still, you know, it's just unusual. Deer, you know, I think a lot of animals are a lot smarter than we give them credit for. Even things like deer and cows and stuff, they play, they're curious, they're generally, carnivores tend to be more intelligent than herbivores, but even sheep have a certain amount of intelligence. A lot of animals are smarter than humans in their own ways. Like, squirrels can remember where they store their nuts all over. There's a, I think the pinyon jay, they will stash like thousands of, you know, pine cones or seeds or whatever, and they remember where they all are. So they might not have the same reasoning processes we have, but they're smarter than us in being able to remember where they put stuff. So I heard, you know, it's interesting. Michio Kaku, love that guy. He did a video where he talked about if we find intelligent life on other planets, what would it be like? What would the most logical adaptations or physical traits they would have? And I think he listed 5 of them. One of those was an appendage for grasping. I do think that's important. Dolphins and whales don't really have that. And so they don't build stuff, but they're still intelligent. So I would, well, sometimes male dolphins use their dicks. Clever. You know, to grab stuff, or like sometimes they grab swimmers and they drag them along. And but the other one was, he said that they would need to be carnivores, because the smartest animals are usually the carnivores, because they need to be smarter than the prey. But I disagree with him on that, because you could have hyper intelligent carnivores, but all at which would raise the necessity for intelligence for the cows. So if you had, you know, some carnivore that, you know, had the human equivalent of an IQ of, you know, 200, well, the cow creatures, they're going to also be smarter, so they might end up being the ones that actually create civilization or have language or whatever. Maybe they find a way to kill off all the carnivores. And so now you have this spacefaring race of space cows. Anyway, just thoughts that I'm having while I'm walking down the valley. Gorgeous day. I'm gonna cross the bridge onto the scary side of the creek. I never used to really spend any time over here until I moved back home like 5 years ago. And I didn't even know it's called the scary side of the creek. I forgot. But it's a special place. I think to me it's sacred. And to me the concept of crossing the creek onto the scary side is sort of psychologically and spiritually meaningful. Why is it scary? It's the unknown. It's across the boundary, you know, that separates it. It's also not a thorn forest. So on that side of the creek is the thorn trees, Osage orange, and on this side it's just I don't know what kind of trees these are, but and this is where I actually started putting my beliefs in shamanism to work. And I've seen stuff happen. I won't get into it, but first time I came over here, you know, as an adult, I remember as I walked through, I just started thinking about turtles. Not the weirdest thing in the world. I'm near water, so there are turtles. But I had this impression that this area like had some association with turtles. And I was like, I've never found a turtle over here. A couple minutes later, right in the middle of the path, a box turtle shell. And not anything mind-blowing that I would expect anybody to be convinced of that it was premonition, but looking back on it, yeah, it was, because I do have premonitions. I do experience synchronicities, and that was one of them. It was really interesting. So it is Friday, May 11th, I believe. And let's see if my alarm chair is up here. I kind of wish I hadn't brought it down here because it's like all mildewed and full of wasps now. But what the hell, I'm glad I did, because it was fun for one summer. There it is. And my intention was I had a table out here. I was just going to make this sort of my go-to place. But, you know, it didn't really last that long. But, you know, hey, I tried. And that's my adventurous, creative spirit, you know? Got a bottle, I don't know what this is from. I'm gonna keep it. Cool piece of wood. I might take that, not right now, but on this side of the rock wall, is not our property, it's cows over there. And first time I came over here, it was surreal. There were just like bleached cow skeletons everywhere, just like big bones and vertebrae and stuff. And it wasn't all green and beautiful, but there was like moss on the ground. It was very surreal. It felt like a dream. I was like, man, this feels like a dream. And which reminds me of something that I try to put into practice, is treating life like a dream. Put into practice lucid dreaming principles. And it's a deer. One, because if you think in those terms, you're more likely to become aware within your dream and begin lucid dreaming. But more importantly than that is that I do believe in simulation theory, let's say. And it's not that I think we're plugged into a machine. I think simulation is just another word for what, the Hindus and all those Eastern people are talking about when they say it's samsara, it's an illusion, it's a dream. And when you wake up within the dream, you can actually manipulate reality. You can basically hack the matrix. You can find, I love in the second matrix, they go into this hallway with all these doors where you can go in and out and pop in this place or that place. And that's kind of how the way I see it. You can use spirituality to basically well, I'm not going to say, you can't control things, but, well, you can. The first step is to no longer be controlled. That's the first step. And when you think all of this is real and you take life super seriously and, you have to win at all costs, because if you lose at life, you're ruined, because you've lost the only real thing that you know. But when you realize it's a dream, you start to play with it and you realize it's a game. And it's called awakening, waking up, awakening. I hate the term enlightenment. There's so much baggage. Awakening is better. And the question has been asked, and I've asked myself, well, if this is all just a simulation or a dream, you still have to treat it as if it's real. I mean, you still have to look both ways when you cross the street, right? You still got to pay your taxes. You still got to go to work, right? So what good is it to realize it's simulation if you're stuck in it? Well, the answer is you don't have to be stuck in it. You don't have to be completely stuck in it. You can wake up within the dream, and I would say, well, that is the key to enlightenment. I mean, that's intrinsic. That's what you become aware of. And for me, what I finally come to because of this understanding, I have figured out how to use magic, and not just be a receiver of synchronicities, but the ability to actually deliberately project and create. the effects you want to see in the world. Most people are not there. I mean, it's taken me years of suffering to get to that point, and you know, I think that even if you don't know how to actually like use the lucid dreaming thing to control or, you know, manifest things, it's a great perspective to have to help you understand what life is all about. And it helps you take things less seriously. And it makes life more fun when you realize that you're playing a game, and if you lose, that's okay. And once you realize it's okay to lose, then you get good at the game, because you lose one and then you're like, all right, let's get back in the saddle. If I lose again, okay, it's not the end of the world, because that's what you're here to do. I like Ram Dass said, he's training to become a nobody. And I really like that. And my uncle Eric the hippie, he used to say, just be willing to be the loser. Just let yourself be the loser. Let yourself lose. Don't, you know, it's okay. And I have lost at the game of life in terms of physical, financial success, things like that. I have come to the end of myself, and I finally came to terms with that this year. I thought that when this year began, I really thought that I take winter solstice very seriously, and something did happen, and I had some premonitions and prophetic messages that said this solstice is really significant this year. But I made the mistake of thinking everything was just gonna be smooth sailing after that. It's been a rough journey, and it's fine, and it's like God has hammered me down, chiseled me away finally to where I don't have the energy to think about the future. I have plans, but the roller coaster of emotion is over. And I realized that giving up, that sense of just hopelessness with changing my situation, it's kind of a funny, kind of ironic thing where I was aware that was exactly where I needed to be for the change to happen that I needed. And for months, it's just been not desperate stoicism, but just acceptance that I'm here right now and I just don't have the energy to speculate anymore, which is where I need to be. And I really believe that right now I am about to blast off. It's just a matter of when.